yet again seeing the split personality of Zeref. On one hand, he's throwing her body, Mavis's body, like, yeah, she's dead, she doesn't move anymore, here, take her. But at the same time, tears streaming down his face. And that yet again raises the question, is it that it's the, magic, the curse that he has on him that makes him that way? Is it that he's playing crazy? What is it? Is it that there's two literal beings inside of Zeref? Is it just a simple case of he's fucking nuts? What is it that'll make him throw her body and then cry at the same time? It's like, it's just a really fucking weird situation. And yet again, the vagueness of who Zeref truly is as far as like his persona. Is it the evil bastard that has done all these terrible things? Or is it this, kind-hearted person that fell in love? And honestly, it kind of did break my heart a little bit when he was talking about I'll never fall in love again. Like, it felt sad, I ain't gonna lie. And finding out that Mavis's body is basically an infinite cannon of magic. That's what Fairy Heart basically is. Again, I stick with the fact that that's not necessarily what Zeref is trying to get it for, just to slay Acnologia. I think possibly that's partially what he wants to do, but I think ultimately a big thing is that he's looking for, again, a way to die. And I think it interests me in a way that if he's looking for a way to die, and yet he's looking for cannons to take out Acnologia to ultimately complete his plan, wouldn't he just go up against Acnologia slay him into 1 billion pieces, and call it a day? Like, what is his ultimate goal as far as, like, doing all this? Is it that he thinks once he takes out Acnologia and becomes Supreme King, he'll be happy? What is it that Zeref is really looking for at the end of the day? I think you can honestly say, with Zeref, a big piece of it is that he's just looking for a way to forgive himself because of, at the end of the day, everything that has happened and his, cursed luck, so to speak. And I think at the end of the day, he's looking for a way to get over, this torture that he's feeling. And I think love is the main thing that he's looking for. And again, it always gets corny with the love shit, let's be real here. The fairy, the magic, the friendship or whatever. But I think that's a big part of it. I think ultimately it's a broken man, a heartbroken man that is looking for a way to cope with all this. And I don't know what ultimately he's trying to do with getting rid of Acnologia and the fairies. Is that he thinks that just carnage and killing is what's going to make him feel right? But it's something there, because why else would he not just go up against Acnologia, get chopped up into 1 billion pieces, and call it a day? I mean, I wonder, would he still be alive if he was like in 1 billion pieces or burnt to a crisp? Would he actually still have some sort of consciousness there? Like, I don't know. And Makarov's father's death, I felt, was definitely way too vague to say that he's gone. I'm really sticking with Makarov's father is actually Serina. I think that that's who he is. And I think that he faked his death yet again because, he's angry. Maybe Zeref made a deal with him. And ultimately, maybe we might get father versus son with Makarov versus Serina. And that's actually going to be his real father, because it just felt like, oh yeah, he died at some given point. Like, why was there no emphasis on how he died when this is Makarov's father at the end of the day? I think Hiro was purposely keeping it vague, so then when we get the big reveal, like, I am your father on some fucking Star Wars shit. A little bit of that Gajeel character development when he basically said, I would never arrest somebody for falling in love or something like that. It showcases, I guess the whole shipping and pairing with him and Levi, but at the same time it showcases that he's not just a complete asshole like he once was. He really does care, and to see that he appreciates love and all of its flaws to a certain extent, Gajeel character development there, even if it's just on the love aspect. But Hiro is one of the few shonen mangaka that actually like to dive into that and give it in even subtle ways like this one. And the big thing with where Natsu said, don't worry, I'm going to take out Zeref, that's what I've been saving this arm for. I think a big piece of it too, if you think about it, the reason why he would say that is, if Zeref is scared of Acnologia to the point where he wants to get all this magic and all these troops so that he could go up against him, it's a possibility that Natsu's arm maybe is turning into a dragon, and it already has like scales and something like that, and it possibly has some sort of magical powers from a dragon, not just, Dragon Slayer magic, but maybe it's like full-on dragon, and he feels as though, if I got full-on dragon shit right here, I'm going to be able to fuck him up. And I'm curious if there's any sort of connection with what's about to happen here than what we're going to see in the actual Fairy Tail movie that's coming up. Remember that poster where we saw like Natsu was like looking like half dragon and shit like that? What if that's like going to be like the conclusion to Fairy Tail, or it's going to tie in some way? That would be fucking sick. And just seeing Natsu turning into a dragon itself, that'd be fucking cool, bro. And if you think about it, Natsu has a couple different advantages. Again, it seems as though the dragons are just impenetrable as far as their combat skills and whatnot. The scarf that he got from McNeil, he has that, and we know that there's some sort of properties in there from a dragon. Then at the same time with his arm, I think when he does fight Zeref, I think he will be ready. I think that time skip, the biggest thing that it'll have brought forth is giving Natsu the abilities to do what he needs to do to take this dude out. I don't think he'll kill him. I think in the end, Zeref downfall will be ultimately himself but I think he's going to give him a run for his money when it goes down, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. I mean, like, that's the fight that's been, promised since the beginning, the Black Wizard Zeref. And quickly talking about Hades, I mean, we've seen in this chapter that he just constantly spent every day researching how to bring Mavis back or whatever. I think a big piece of that is what turned him into, the dark person that he ultimately became. I think that the magic that he was looking into and the things that he did corrupted him and ultimately sent him down that path. Because why else would this guy that was part of Fairy Tail, one of the most purest guilds, I mean, granted they're beer-swilling crazy nuts, but they're good people ultimately, why would he go down the path of being a dark mage? Ultimately, I think the magic that he was looking into and all those years of trying to bring this girl back fucked his head up and ultimately turned him into this path. Maybe he's seen something that made him think, yeah, being evil is worth it. So I think that Mavis, in a weird way, also is responsible for Hades becoming who he ultimately became. And yeah, very good chapter. I mean, hinting that Natsu has some new abilities. I'm excited about seeing more about Zeref. Again, seeing more Zeref is always good. A little bit of Gajeel character development. I mean, the possibility of Serena being Makarov's father. A lot of cool shit. I mean, again, I think that he faked his death, and honestly, this chapter, very good stuff. I'd say 8 out of 10 for this one. No action, didn't need action. It was just really good build-up, and I think towards the end of the chapter, it says something like heading towards the final battle or something like that. So Fairy Tail might be ending very soon too. I mean, maybe it could be like the Fourth Great Shinobi War where we have years upon years of, material, but it could just be one big saga. Like we're going into like one big saga that is one event after another, and it's not going to be any more separate arcs. It's just going to be straight through, like, first we fight against Alvarez, then maybe Zeref and the Dragon, something like it's going to keep on going from one event to another and not stop for a bit for like a spa session. But let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. What do you think about a lot of these different things? Do you think that Natsu is starting to turn into a dragon? Maybe his body already started going that way because when he met Igneel and when the dragons came out, maybe it gave them some sort of powers. Maybe Gajeel will eventually start doing it. Likewise with Wendy. Do you think that Serena is indeed Makarov's father and he faked his death and that's why it was very vague? And what do you think about Zeref's split personality again? Crying after he threw her fucking body like it was nothing. Like, the dude is fucking crazy. And overall, thoughts of the chapter. Very good shit, man. Fairy Tail been on a fucking roll, and I love to say that because Fairy Tail gets so much shit, like if it's the worst thing in the world, but we've been getting some very good-ass chapters, and I'm really looking forward to this final battle with Alvarez and Zeref and Acnologia. It's looking pretty fucking hype. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no Nakama power-up bullshit. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.